shame is suffering for most people. And I believe that suffering exists typically in 4 places.
Yeah.
The things that are left unsaid, the things we lack permission to feel or say, the things we lack the words to articulate or understand, or the things that are left undone. The reason my purpose in life is to allow my truth to give others permission to live theirs. The reason I talk so vulnerably, so openly about what's possible in marriage and business, even through damage and crazy times, is because every time I say it, not only does it alleviate suffering internally, because it further reconciles it, but what do I also do? I give language to give other people permission to feel something that maybe they are leaning into feeling permission on for the very first time in their entire lives. And I give them words to articulate and understand their unique situation through a lens that they may not have heard it or understood it. So now what do they get the ability to do? Act or do and move themselves through it.
So good. Oh my gosh. I knew I loved you when I first met you. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys, Brian has a podcast. He has a YouTube channel. He's on all the things. He's obviously a coach and a speaker. I want people to be able to get connected to you, Brian, and to know that that connection is going to go far beyond what I think a lot of people are offering from a connectivity perspective. As you're developing what it is that you're growing, it's ultimately a movement. And I hope that I am now underneath that umbrella of pushing you forward so that more people can hear this, but also that I'm willing to wave that white flag, because ultimately I think in order to get to this place and this level of understanding, it's a constant air of surrender. It's every day being like, woo, I got that wrong. It's, hey, I need help, right? Asking for help and making it known to people that I don't understand. Tell me more, right? Or I need help understanding or dissecting this situation, or why did I respond like that? Or why didn't I respond like that? I want people to not fall asleep with shame. And so what are some additional ways that people can do that and come alongside the movement or your community?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you use the word surrender, because it's one of 3 words I have tattooed on my left arm.
Of course
trust,
it is.
Surrender, breathe. Okay? Because I know that if I can trust myself and trust the universe, trust what's happening, trust that I'm going to be safe and okay, then I can surrender to know that whatever's going to happen in, through, or around me is exactly what's supposed to happen, and the timing is always perfect. So I can allow myself to breathe through it, and that is exactly one of the reasons that it's on my arm. If you are a social media person, you can go find me at Bogert Brian on all channels. If you're watching this and anything resonates with you, we run 3-day virtual summits that are 18 hours of content and coaching that go deep on the waste to wealth methodology. And so we teach people to transform their waste to wealth inside themselves, inside their businesses. And what does that mean? It's 5 pillars that we didn't cover yet today, but they are guaranteed to help any individual or any organization identify and remove or transform the waste they didn't even know existed within them into wealth-generating activities that will connect and convert through the world. Okay, so if you want to join in one of those, just because I'm here with you today, because you're a friend, because you're a champion, and you're helping us move more people, I'm going to give a VIP code to anybody who's listening on this today. If you go to go.brianbogert.com/amplify, and you enter the VIP code VIP100, you'll get free access to our September 3-day event, and you can go deeper on this for yourself and your business.
Good Lord, you guys have to get in on this, because he's literally scratching the surface. And if you're listening and you're like, I have no idea what they're talking about, first off, go back and start over, because the simplicity to what he's saying is there. It is possible, especially hearing it from 2 different people who have walked through 2 totally different lifetimes. And yet we're both here like shaking our head. For those who aren't watching, we're both just like, yes, 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 the entire time, because it's so critical and yet so possible. I think the last piece I'd love for you to close in on, Brian, is connected to what you shared with the breathe or the breath, right? And understanding that God is in the midst of this story. He's in the midst of all of our stories, and the element of freedom. And so we talked about it connected to truth, but in your spirituality growth on the other side of the emotional elements too, what have you discovered, and understanding that surrender is because he has cultivated something far greater than you could control anyway. What does that spirituality story look like, and how do you help people in that regard as well?
Yeah, I help people in that regard the same way I do in every other category, objectively and non-judgmentally, because I do believe and support that there are so many varying beliefs, so many varying opinions. And even one of the things that we talk about in our group room is that I don't want people to let the language get in front of the lesson, right? Because often I'll use the word universe, right? But that can be interchangeable with God, Allah, or any other belief system. I believe in my research of having done so many different elements, I believe that all different religions are some version of the same ultimate truth. Okay? So what does that mean for me? I do believe in a higher connective power. I do believe in an abundant opportunity for all of us to access into. I do believe that we have guides and paths that can guide us through things in life if we're leaning into the light, right? But what does that mean for me? It means for me that I believe that the greatest expression of God, the greatest expression of the universe, is when I'm most deeply connected in my most authentic self. To be able to honor God, to be able to honor the universe and all of the gifts I've been given, it's to not shut off or shut down anything that I could be or want to be, because we do have abundant opportunity if we allow ourselves to receive. But it does start with also asking for help and realizing that we need to open ourselves to something bigger than ourselves. I don't like the whole statement when people say, well, it's not about you. No, it's always about you. It's just bigger than you. Okay? It's bigger than you. And it is a chance where we can all be connected. And so for me, my spirituality, I was deeply, deeply religious. And I say that in quotes because I went to church and I had a group of people that I was doing things. I would argue that my spirituality, my connection to the broader power that exists, that we all have access to, is the strongest it's ever been. But it didn't come from doing. It came from learning to be and getting myself quiet enough to be able to get the downloads and receive the messages, support, and help that are given to all of us if we're actually paying attention.